Good evening and welcome to this regular meeting of the Council of the Municipality of North Perth. Our meeting date is Monday, January 8th, 2024. Happy New Year. I'm Mayor Todd Kasenberg and I'll call this meeting to order. I ask the clerk to note the starting time for our minutes as 7 p.m. A warm welcome is extended to councillors, staff, delegations, and observers who will participate in this meeting, regardless of whether being physically in attendance in the council chambers in Listowel or being connected through web technologies. Before we get further with our meeting, we have had a request from Councillor Alan Rothwell to permit his remote participation in tonight's meeting. I have a resolution to that end for Council's consideration as follows: that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth permits Councillor Rothwell's remote participation at the January 8th, 2023 Council meeting. Can I call for a mover on this one? Councillor Richardson, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Andreessen. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. So we can admit Councillor Rothwell in. Councillor Rothwell, welcome to the meeting. I'm told that your brother-in-law seriously contemplated voting against this resolution because you should be vacationing. That's what I was told. All right. Let's move on then to the playing of O Canada. Those in chambers as able are invited to stand. The engineers in the room were spared from the singing of O Canada, which was their alternative plan should the video fail. We acknowledge that we are on the traditional land of the Anishinaabe peoples. We wish to recognize the long history of Indigenous peoples in Canada and show our respect to them today. We recognize their stewardship of the land. May we all live with respect on this land and live in peace and friendship. Tonight's meeting is being streamed live on the Municipality of North Perth YouTube channel and will be available there after this meeting as an archived video. To those who are viewing this meeting via the YouTube channel, a warm welcome to you. To those present in the gallery today, by attending a public meeting of the Council, you are consenting to your image, voice, and comments being recorded. Anyone who is invited to speak will be recorded, and their voice, image, and comments will form part of the live stream and the archive. The chair and/or the clerk have the discretion and authority at any time to direct the termination or interruption of live streaming. Such direction will only be given in exceptional circumstances when deemed relevant. Circumstances may include instances where the content of debate is considered misleading, defamatory, or potentially inappropriate to be published. Attendees are advised that they may be subject to legal action if their actions result in inappropriate and/or unacceptable behavior and/or comments. Thank you. At this time, I invite your decorum over the course of the coming meeting. And we are all in our places, including Councillor Rothwell, remotely. Let us move then to item 5 of our agenda pertaining to pecuniary interest. For the benefit of those unfamiliar with our council practices, provincial legislation requires councillors with a potential pecuniary or financial interest in any item at the council table to declare this interest and to remove her or himself from discussions and voting on the item. In accordance with recommended protocol at this time, I invite all councillors with a perceived pecuniary interest, including those who have already declared in writing, to verbally advise the chair in public session and to submit documentation, if not already done, to the clerk to this effect. Councillors are further reminded that should a potential conflict arise during the meeting, they may so declare and act at any point in the meeting. At this time, then, I'm going to turn to my colleagues. I am first aware of advance notice of this from Councillor Andreessen. Councillor Andreessen.
Happy New Year, Mayor Kaysenberg, Council and staff and members of the public. I will be declaring pecuniary interest this evening on a number of items. The first is 8.1 regarding the Horton Municipal Drain, and then 8.2 regarding the Isachenko Municipal Drain. My husband and I have agricultural corporations that own land on these drains. Subsequently, this will impact bylaws 12.2 and 12.3, and finally the confirmatory bylaw, which is 17.1. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Andreessen. Colleagues, any others of you wishing to make a declaration at this point? Okay, I'm not seeing any. My role as chair prompts me to manage the flow of proceedings tonight, sort of like being in the Mission Control Center, and largely in accord with our agenda. Some, including Councillor Rothwell, may be participating by remote web conference connections. Should they wish to speak, they should draw the attention of the clerk to this using the text chat function in our web conference tool. If technical difficulties arise for remote participants, I will advise and try to send help. Let us now focus on the people's business. Part of that is achieved when those in the chamber silence and put away their phones. Regarding item 6 of our agenda, I have a motion before me for the approval of the agenda for tonight's meeting that reads as follows: that the agenda for tonight's meeting be approved. Can I call for mover? Councillor Anstead. Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Nordham. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. Let's move on then to our next item, item 7. On the so-called consent agenda, consented items are placed on our agenda because they are believed to be non-contentious, yet they may warrant council's recognition and or action. Grouping them expedites our business. However, any councillor wishing to extract an item from the consent agenda for discussion, debate, and individual action may do so. There are 9 items on the consent agenda this night, including the minutes of our last regular council meeting. Councillors, anything to extract here or any corrections you seek to the minutes? Councillor Nordham.
Yeah, I would like to extract 7.3 and 7.4.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Rothwell, we should check in with you. Anything that you wish to extract?
Thanks, Mayor Todd, and Happy New Year to all you and all of Council. I do not have anything to extract. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I think consistent with our usual procedures, we'll turn the floor to Councillor Noonan. Go ahead.
Thanks, Mayor Kasenberg. I would like to, for 7.3, I would like to quickly thank the Perth County Federation of Ag for sending concerns, recommendations when it comes to battery energy storage systems. We all know it's a new system that's being proposed around Ontario municipalities, and there's limited information on them. It's good to get some recommendations and concerns from valued agriculture groups here in Perth County. I know when we had a proposal coming here in North Perth, I had some of the members on speed dial just to get some information on those projects, and I really want to thank them for being there. And another reference for 7.4, maybe one of our county representatives would like to speak towards the 2023 proposed planned update. But I know that North Perth, we're well aware that the surrounding area of our most populated area is Class 1 farmland, and we're hoping to move towards more medium density and high density over low density. So, thank you.
All right, thank you, Councillor Nordham. Deputy Mayor Kellum is the Deputy Warden at the county. Did you want to offer any comment about the official plans process from here? Perhaps that would be helpful.
Sorry, through you, Mayor Kasenberg, you mean the official plan where we're at this point?
Yeah, I think so. Because we have this letter in the consent agenda, I think that we're in a consultation phase or moving into a consultation phase. So.
Yes. So this, through you, Mayor Kasenberg. So this letter, I do know something about this. This past Monday, last Thursday, we have weekly meetings with the clerk, the CEO, and the warden and myself, and we're quite aware of this. So this will be coming to council, I believe, on Thursday of this week, and what comes out of that, we will bring back to this council table. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, my general impression is that there'll be ample opportunity for input on this. This is, the draft has been issued, and we're at the stage now where the public and the range of interests can weigh in. So, all right. Anyone else with, I didn't detect anything inherent about just recognition and comments on them. Anyone else with comments or wishing to extract anything on the consent agenda before we consider the resolution then? All right, seeing nothing, I have a resolution as follows: that consent items 7.1 to 7.9 be received for information, and the minutes of the December 18th, 2023 regular council meeting be adopted. Moved by Deputy Mayor Kellum, seconded by Councillor Blazek. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. All right, let's move forward then to item 8 on our agenda. For the purpose of executing 2 public meetings under the Drainage Act, I use my discretion as head of council to announce a recess that will last the duration of these 2 public meetings. The items to be considered in said public meetings include the Brant and Horse Drain and the Isachenko Drain. So now we are recessed. For our public meeting, this is a public meeting to consider the report for the Brant and Horton municipal drains. We have opportunity to consider fully the report from the engineer, and the engineer is with us. He will shortly present the report to council. I also extend a welcome to any assessed landowners who are in attendance who are wishing to learn about this project or to ask questions of the engineer at this point in time. So at this hour then, I'll call on Bill Dietrich, who is with Dietrich Engineering Limited, to present the report on this drain. Mr. Dietrich. Let's make sure that podium microphone, just press the button there.
I think we're connected. think we'll start with the, I'm going to take a few minutes and just review this project, and I'd like to thank Mayor Kessenberg and members of council for this opportunity. The purpose of this meeting is to review the work that's being proposed, these improvements to the Brant and Horton municipal drains. So I'm going to start with the drawing. This report was circulated to all property owners that were assessed on the drain. And there's a plan at the back of the report. I think I'm going to review the information that's on this drawing. And this basically, by doing that, I'll be able to outline the work that's going to be authorized. The authorization to bring us to this report, we started with an appointment from the Council of the Municipality of North Perth under Section 78 of the Drainage Act to prepare a drainage report. The appointment under Section 78 had asked our firm for repairs and improvements to both the Brant and Horton municipal drains. We also then received an appointment under Section 4 of the Drainage Act to extend the Horton drain upstream of Road 146. We held an on-site meeting to discuss what work might be required and what improvements were going to be necessary to these existing drainage systems. So the existing drainage systems, there's the Horton drain you'll see on the plan is the red line that shows up on the plan, and the yellow line is the Brant drain. The Brant drain was originally constructed on a report that James A. Howes had produced, and he submitted it on January the 10th, 1974. In this report, it consisted of two parts. The main drain, which there was 6,450 feet of 6-inch to 18-inch tile that was installed. He also constructed a branch drain known as Branch A, which was a 6-inch tile. The area that was served by the Brant drain was at 210 acres, or approximately 85 hectares of land. The most current report that the municipality has received on the Horton drain was prepared by K. Smart Associates, and it was in January 30th of 1984. And that drain consisted of the installation of 2,930 feet of 12 to 16-inch tile. And the area that it is served is shown on the plan. We're looking at the drainage basin for this system is outlined by the blue line, dotted line on the drawing. That's the catchment area or the watershed boundary. It serves parts of lots, you can see on the plan, parts of lots 3 to 8 of concession 1 of Wallace Ward, and lots 60 to 67 in concession 1 of the Elmo Ward. We had an information meeting back on November the 1st of 2023 to review our proposal for these improvements. What we're proposing in this report is to, on the Brant drain, is to replace and abandon the existing tile drainage system. And I'm referring to now the yellow line on the drawing, which is the main drain. We're going to be installing a new tile system from the outlet in the Mayberry drain in lot 60 of concession 1. And the drain will continue upstream to the north side, Perth line 86. Right to the property line between lots 4 and 5, concession 1 of Wallace. There'll be 1,690 meters of 525 millimeter to 825 millimeter diameter tile to be installed. And we used a 1.5-inch drainage coefficient to design this drainage system. There'll also be a clean out of approximately 220 meters of Mayberry drain. We've estimated the total cost of this part of the project. This includes the construction costs, the allowances that will be paid to the landowners for right-of-way and damages to lands and crops, administration costs and engineering costs. We've estimated the total estimated cost for these improvements at $502,700. Also, Branch A will be replaced with a new tile system. It'll consist of 75 meters of 200 millimeter tile. The estimated cost for Branch A is $17,300. Those are the improvements that are being proposed for the Brant drainage system. The other part of the project is the Horton drain. So we've got two municipal drains here, and we've also been asked to look at improving, making improvements to the Horton drainage system. We're going to be improving the outlet into lot 61 concession 1 by connecting a 375 millimeter connection to the Brant drain, and also increasing the Brant drain capacity from there on to its outlet into the Mayberry drain. A new tile system will be installed from the south side of Perth Line A6 upstream to the easterly side of Road 146. Approximately 596 meters of 350 millimeter to 525 millimeter tile will be installed on the Horton drain. This new tile drainage system then is also, we had a petition under Section 4 to have it extended. So this drain will be extended upstream from Road 146 to the property line between lots 5 and 6 of Concession 1 in the Wallace Ward. To do that, it will be 328 meters of 250 millimeter to 300 millimeter tile installed. Again, 1.5 inch drainage coefficient was used to design that system. We've estimated all the improvements and the extension of the Horton drain to cost $200,600. The breakdown of the costs are in the drainage report. I won't at this point in time review those, but they're itemized, and there's also an assessment of costs for construction and maintenance shown in the report. But the purpose of this evening is to discuss the work that's being planned or proposed here. So if there's any questions about the work that I've outlined here, I'd be pleased to answer those.
All right, thank you, Mr. Dietrich. Opportunity now for those in attendance who wish to ask questions to do so. Council may also pool some questions if you have them, but let's turn to those who are in attendance and see if there are any questions that they would like to pose. If you do wish to ask a question, we invite you to come forward to the podium, identify yourself and where you reside, and then ask your question. Anyone wishing to avail themselves of that opportunity? Mr. Andreessen, if you don't mind, Mr. Dietrich, just let him come up to the podium there.
Hello, I'm Doug Andreessen. I own Lot 6, and with the Horton drain there, I think I've talked to you about upgrading it across 7 and 8 as well, that property. I don't know if that can be done as well.
Crossword 7 and 8.
Or, yeah.
That has been included in this report.
It has been?
Yes, it has. Yeah,
Okay,
we'll be putting in a new tile system, and it's been designed for an 1.5-inch drainage coach as well, which will require to upgrade this system. Will be a new outlet
Right.
installed under the county road, and this whole draining system will be installed. We're going to leave the existing drain there, but they'll
Put another one in there.
put another one beside it. But the new one is designed to today's standards.
All right.
It's been done. It's included.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Andreessen. Anyone else wishing to ask questions or make comments at this point? Okay, colleagues, do you have any questions or comments to make? Councillor Johnston.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Bill, a question about the Horton, where it will be hooking into the Brant. Because we're extending it, I'm assuming then the Brant will have to be upsized to take that water from the Horton and the Brant over to the Mayberry. Will those costs be borne more by the Horton people than by the Brant people, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I understand the question. Yes, and the answer to your question is we have upsized, increased the capacity from the connection. You'll see that the Horton drain is a 600 millimeter or 24-inch tile, and from that point on down, we'll be putting in an 825 millimeter, which is a 33-inch diameter pipe. And the two drains, this will give the necessary capacity by increasing the Horton drain. And we kept the increased cost for that separately and assessed that as an outlet liability assessment to all the landowners on the Horton drain. They are being assessed for the increased costs.
Anyone else with a question? Okay, Councillor Rothwell, just checking in. I'm not seeing a hand waving or fireworks show, something exciting. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Dietrich, for your report to this council. At this point, I have not heard any significant concerns that would warrant any changes. So I believe at this point we can assume that we can adjourn this meeting. All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, it's the night for the engineers, it would seem. Now I will call to order the next public meeting. This is for the consideration of the report from the engineer on the Isachenko Municipal Drain. Welcome to any assessed landowners who are with us and have interest in this matter. At this hour, you can see that Brandon Widener, who is with Spreet Associates, has come to the podium, and he will present the report of the engineer on this drain. Mr. Widener, the floor is yours.
So good evening, everybody. We just had a very good presentation, and we have a very similar project. So as you can see, you've already jumped to the plan. You can see what we have here is the Isachenko drain. Correct me if that's pronounced wrong. Again, similar drain to the one Bill just presented. It was a report you had from Mr. James Howes from 1969. As you can see on the plan, it starts on one end of the concession and it goes across the whole concession essentially. We had a number of landowners on this which signed a request, mainly the Andreessens, which own a number of properties, as well as another company in the middle, LSG Farms. What we're looking at here is essentially a full tile replacement all the way up to the side road, up and across. We are leaving one small portion across the top end Andreessen farm. There was no appetite to replace that at this time. So we're looking at a full replacement of a drain. I believe there's about 2,100 meters. This drain does have a couple different components. As Bill just mentioned, most drains are designed to 1.5 inches, 38 millimeters. This one has a downstream portion that was increased to 50 millimeters on the request of 3 landowners. So the bottom end is sized to take a 50 millimeter storm. The top end is sized to take a 38 millimeter storm. That being said, we have a drain, again, 2,100 meters of 12 to 30 inch tile. We have a total project cost of about $367,000 divided among landowners we have. There's only a handful of landowners on this drain. They all but one were in attendance to the meetings that we had. And then there's one small road crossing on this, as you can see, but it's essentially a fairly straightforward project. But happy to answer any questions if there are any.
All right, thank you, Mr. Widener. Let's turn to that question opportunity. Those in attendance who wish to ask questions or make comments at this hour can do so. And I invite any who wish to do that to come forward to the podium, identify themselves and their interest in the matter, and certainly we'll ask the engineer to clarify as he can. My colleagues from council will also have the opportunity to ask a few questions should they wish to do so after that opportunity. So are there any in the gallery who would like the opportunity to ask questions or make comments about this drain and this project? I'm not seeing any hands waving at me. I turn to my colleagues. Colleagues, any questions that you have about this matter? I see Councillor Duncan leaning in to the screen. I'm wondering if there's a question coming or not. Okay, so Councillor Duncan's good. Councillor Rothwell, do you have a question? Just 1 second, Scott.
Thanks for asking. No, Mayor Todd, no questions.
Okay, thanks. All right, our drainage superintendent, Scott Richardson, has raised his hand in the gallery. So, Mr. Richardson, come forward, please.
Thanks, Council. I did have a phone call from the landowner at the top, Oscar, I believe his name's Oscar Gingrich. He had mentioned that his tile drainage in this area is tiled out. However, surface flows are still going to go that way. It'll be up to Brandon to just amend or change that assessment and make that make that right. It's usually about half rate, isn't it, Brandon? So we'll make that minor change to this, but it shouldn't hinder. You guys can consider that tonight as prepared here by Brandon.
Okay, so there could be minor revisions
Just a
in
small
favor
revision, yeah.
of this landowner?
That's
All right,
correct, yeah.
thank you.
So what would happen would the top end owner he has reached out. He's indicated his land is tiled, let's say south, which is fine. He's allowed to do that. We would typically reduce him by half. That being said, in the perfect drainage world, he has to buy into the neighboring drains. So it's not that if you get out of one, you get into another. That being said, he reached out in January. This report was issued in November. I have no authority, or I can't change it till I am directed. And I don't believe he's sent in his information yet. So I don't know if he's in the audience. So if he has that information, I guess he could provide it to us. If it is the case, we will alter the Schedule C, which is just the assessment schedule. I'm not going to change the design. He's assessed 9 acres. We would alter the assessment schedule, reduce him. It would change the other individual's costs. I believe he's assessed in the neighborhood of $5,000. That would be spread over some of the other landowners. We would reissue that prior to the quarter revision. So we'd only go to 1 quarter revision. When Scott or Sarah send the notice out, we would send the revised schedule assessment once we have the information. But take note, we were appointed on this drain in the middle of 2022. That information didn't come till last week.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Widener. Did that provoke any questions in the audience or any comments from the affected landowner? Doesn't seem like it did. So, okay, at this point then, it appears that all of the questions that were desired to be posed have been posed and responded to by the engineer and staff who's involved with that as well. I did not detect any significant concerns, nor did I notice anyone proposing to withdraw from this. So I believe at this point then, this meeting can be adjourned. All right. With that then, colleagues, I, on my authority, bring council back into regular council session. And we will deal with the resolutions that pertain to these 2 drains at this point. First, item 8.1 concerning the Brant and Horton drain. I have a few resolutions here for our consideration. The first is as follows: that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth accepts the Brant and Horton Drain Report dated December 12, 2023, prepared by Dietrich Engineering. Can I call for a mover on this? Councillor Johnston, seconded by Councillor Duncan. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Next up is the quarter revision date setting as follows: that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth will hold the Court of Revision for the Brant and Horton Municipal Drain on February 26th, 2024 at 6 p.m. Can I call for a mover? Deputy Mayor Kellum, thank you. Councillor Richardson is our seconder. Any discussion or debate on this? Seeing none, let's have that vote. We're missing 1 vote. There we go. Councillor Rothwell's vote is in. That is carried unanimously. Thank you. Next, we turn our attention to the Isaachenko matter. And I have a resolution here, sorry, shuffling papers, that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth accepts the Isaachenko Drain Report dated November 21st, 2023, prepared by Spreet Associates. Can I call for a mover? Councillor Nordum, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Anstead. Any discussion or debate on this one? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. And next, the quarter revision for this one as follows: that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth will hold the quarter revision for the Isachenko Municipal Drain on February 26, 2024 at 6:15 p.m. Moved by Councillor Johnston, seconded by Councillor Blazek. Any discussion or debate on this one? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you very much. Mr. Widener, thank you for attending tonight. When you have a hearty beverage with Mr. Dietrich, remind him that you need to practice for O Canada. All right. Next, then, we are turning our attention to the opportunity to have two delegates before this council tonight. First delegation, we know, will go past the 10 minutes usually allocated for a delegate. And so I do have a resolution to allow a fulsome presentation. This from United Way Perth Huron and the Social Research and Planning Council. As follows: that in accordance with Section 26A of the Procedure Bylaw, Council temporarily relaxes the rules of order to permit additional discussion time for the delegation from United Way Perth Huron regarding the quality of life Perth Huron report. Can I call for a mover on that one? Moved by Councillor Blazek, seconded by Councillor Nordum. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's have that vote. Councillor Andreessen records a manual in favor vote. And that is carried. Thank you. So at this hour then, we are joined for item 8.3 by Ms. Kristen Crane, who is Director of the Social Research and Planning Council, a unit of the United Way Perth Huron. Ms. Crane is here to share information from 5 recent reports collectively on quality of life that have been released for the local United Way's catchment area. Ms. Crane, welcome to our meeting. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good evening to all, and I greatly appreciate the extra time should it be required. However, I plan to be brief. Next. So as the mayor has mentioned, our reports have been released. They are available on the United Way website, and the reports are meant to be used for residents to understand their community. Next, we offer recommendations for different levels of government and community organizations, and it's all towards enhancing the well-being of the community. Next. There are hundreds of data points amongst the 5 different reports, but we have taken and analyzed this information and broken it down into some facts and graphics, and it has been compiled into the executive summary report that you received. However, the other 5 full reports are on the United Way website. Next. So the statistics that I'm about to share with you come from the most recent Census of Canada 2021, as well as Environics Analytics. And understanding demographics gives us a bit of a roadmap of the community and helps to understand services and programs that need to be tailored to age, geography, gender, and other facets of somebody's identity. Next. Next. The current median age in Perth is 42.4 years, and that hasn't changed significantly over the past 5 years. Within the different age categories, individuals aged 60 to 64 are the largest percentage of the population. Next. And according to the census, 81,565 people live in Perth region, and the population has increased by just under 5,000 people between the years of 2016 and 2021, or 6.2%. And the province has had an overall increase of 5.8%. However, as you can see, your municipality has far outpaced the region with a population increase of 18.3%, which is very significant. Based on some estimates, the total population in Perth will grow by 14.6% by 2032. Currently, the main factor contributing to population growth in our economic region is intra-provincial migration, and those are individuals that have moved from elsewhere in Ontario. And we've seen the rates increase significantly over the last 5 years. Next. I just want to draw your attention here to the number of one-person households that are in Perth County at 28%. I'll come back to this later in the presentation, but we'll see that it has a large impact on the cost of living when it is just one person's income to cover all shelter costs. Next. As we can see here, the Indigenous population is small in our area, although we know that the census numbers are lower than actual numbers, and the socialized population is vastly different in Perth and Huron from the province, but it is similar to other rural areas. We see that 6% of the population is racialized in Perth County versus 34% in Ontario, aged 25 to 64 in Perth and Huron combined, or Perth and Huron separately here. Compared to the province, a greater percentage of people in Perth and Huron do not have a high school diploma, and a greater proportion of people who obtain a high school diploma do not pursue further education. The most notable difference is the smaller proportion of residents with bachelor's degrees or higher in our region as compared to the province. But we do know that career opportunities in our region and the local workforce demand for skills align well with education and training in the skilled trade. And you can see this by the number of trades diplomas earned in our region. Next. A living wage is the hourly wage that every adult in a household needs to earn to cover basic expenses and participate in the community. The minimum wage, as I'm sure we all know, is the lowest wage an employer can legally pay their staff. Unlike the living wage, it is not based upon the cost of living, nor is it adjusted annually. The most recent living wage for Perth Huron, which was released in November 2023, is $22.75 per hour. For the second year in a row, we are the second highest rate in all of Ontario. So we can no longer say that the cost of living is low and use that to justify or explain why wages could be lower in our area. We see the gap has now reached over $6 an hour difference between living wage and the minimum wage. Next. Adequate housing is a human right according to Canadian and international law. And housing is generally considered affordable if all shelter costs amount to less than 30% of a household's before tax income. In Perth, 16% of homeowners and 31% of renters are spending more than 30% of their income on shelter costs. For a one-person household, and again, that's 28% of households, the median yearly after-tax income in Perth and Huron is $37,000. Within this level, a one-bedroom rental would account for 46% of the income, and a bachelor would account for 35% of the income, so significantly higher than the generally recognized 30%. Next. In Perth and Huron combined, 14% of tenant households are in core housing need, and this means that their housing is some combination of unaffordable, inadequate, and unsuitable, and the median acceptable alternative housing would also be unaffordable to them. 14% of tenants in Perth live in subsidized housing as well. Waitlists for subsidized housing is long, and many individuals will have to wait as many as 5 years to move into the housing. And when I say subsidized housing, I refer to any shelter that's subsidized in a variety of ways to make it financially accessible to low-income individuals and families. Next. Last year in November, the Social Research and Planning Council conducted a survey to understand household food insecurity regionally. And the findings of this survey revealed that 63% of respondents experienced food insecurity in the past year. Within that, we found that 24% of people's incomes did not meet their needs, and 87% said they had to sacrifice their household food budget to pay for other living expenses such as rent or mortgages. And 63% of respondents were employed full-time. So this survey validates the findings that poverty is the root cause of food insecurity. It's also providing indication that the wages are not matching the rising costs of living. Next. According to the 2021 report on discrimination that was conducted by the Huron County Immigration Partnership for Huron and Perth region, Indigenous peoples are the most likely to experience discrimination in our area, followed by immigrants and visible minorities. In the 3 years prior to the survey, 81% of Indigenous people, 68% of immigrants and visible minorities, and 49% of white people who are not immigrants reported experiencing discrimination. Looking further at the immigrants and visible minorities who completed the survey, Black people reported experiencing discrimination more than any other ethnicity at 86%. For comparison, London Middlesex conducted the exact same survey during the same time frame, and 62% of Indigenous people and 37% of immigrants and visible minorities experienced discrimination. Amongst the 9 regions in southwestern Ontario that conducted the survey, Perth Huron had the most frequent rates of discrimination. Next. This data comes from the 2021 Ontario Student Drug Use and Health Survey, and it shows that in our province, as a result of COVID-19 pandemic, 51% of youth reported their anxiety had increased, and 54% reported their loneliness had increased due to the pandemic. And some of these effects are still being felt amongst youth. We know that efforts to improve youth health overall and well-being can go a long way towards minimizing the risk of substance-related harms and healthier life choices in the future. Next. This chart displays the rates of opioid-related emergency department visits and deaths in Perth and Huron combined, and it's per 100,000 of the population, so the actual numbers are higher. We know that it's a massive challenge that we're facing, and it is not unique to Perth County. Within this chart, this doesn't show the true impact of overdose events in the community, as many individuals aren't seen in an emergency room. There's frontline service providers such as EMS, fire, police, and others who are reversing overdoses by giving naloxone, and this may not be recorded in emergency department visits. Next. This information is just showing how our climate is changing. In 2000, the average temperature was approximately 7 degrees Celsius in Perth, and by 2081, it's forecasted to increase to 13.4 degrees Celsius. That seems like it's a ways away into the future, but it is within the current generation's lifetime. And climate anxiety is something that's the source of a lot of worry and depression amongst youth today. Climate anxiety is the distress that's felt about climate change and its impact on the environment. And again, this data came from the Ontario Student Drug Use and Health Survey. Now I want to shift. I don't want to share just the sort of sad statistics. I want to show us that there's also a lot of areas in which we can celebrate and that the data is showing us that we're doing really well. Next. So in comparison to Ontario as a whole, people in Perth reported feeling less stressed. Across all age groups, we see that less than 20% of individuals reported finding life to be quite or extremely stressful. Overall, the majority of residents report that they're either satisfied or very satisfied with their work-life balance. And in Perth, 97% of people report being either moderately satisfied or very satisfied with their life. And self-reported life satisfaction is one of the most direct measures of quality of life. So this is excellent news. Next. And we also have a really strong small business and nonprofit sector. Small businesses contribute to quality of life in many ways. They have a high rate of participation in the community, purchase goods and services from other local businesses, hold fundraisers, and volunteer at local events. This is all contributing to quality of life. We also know that they employ many people in our region. Perth has a large share of micro businesses, which is 1 to 4 employees at 51%, as well as very small businesses, which are 5 to 9 employees. This includes nonprofits, and we know that they're all contributing significantly to the economy. Industries with the greatest number of businesses are agriculture, real estate, and construction. Next. Oh, sorry, I got a little ahead there. Next. So what are some things that we can consider doing now to improve the quality of life? There are many recommendations within the reports, but I've pulled a few here for your attention. So ensuring that our local workforce earns a wage that is reflective of the cost of living is crucial. Also, by supporting businesses who provide that is an action that we can take. As well, workplaces, local government, nonprofits, and community organizations should engage in diversity education and training focused on reducing and preventing discrimination in order to create welcoming communities. The Renfrew recommendations that came out after the murder of 3 women in rural Ontario recommend that everyone learn about risk factors and warning signs of intimate partner violence. This training is online and easily accessible at learningtoendabuse.ca. Also, I know with North Huron's rapid growth that there's lots of new facilities, parks that have been designed and are planned to be built to meet the demands of the population. And using best practices for equity and inclusion is important. Also, with libraries as community hubs, by supporting them to expand lending programs, which include passes and equipment that enable the population to access parks and recreational opportunities. This is a great way to provide free, accessible programming to all residents, regardless of their income. We also see that the number of people experiencing homelessness is growing. As well, our population is growing, and the rental market can't meet demand. By voicing support for deeply affordable housing and workforce housing, you will have an impact on communities' opinion and hopefully decrease opposition to developments. We all know that increasing the supply that matches where the demand is high is an important action to take. Next. I hope that you will be able to have the opportunity to look further at the reports that we have developed, and it will help you understand your communities and to make informed decisions that support everyone in the region. And I couldn't provide just a really simple measure of quality of life in our area, but I did want to pull some of the findings that we can celebrate and issues that we can work on. And I'm pleased to answer any questions that you may have through you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you, Ms. Crane. Colleagues, do you have questions of this report? Councillor Blazek first.
Thank you, and through you, Mayor. Thank you so much for your report. I was wondering, you talked about comparators in your diversity and discrimination portion of this presentation, and I didn't see those comparators in your presentation. I'm wondering if perhaps those comparators might be sent either to myself or to our Director of Strategic Initiatives, Jessica McLean, so that we could share those with our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. I feel as though that might be some good information for them to have at their next meeting.
Yes, absolutely. I can share the reports. The link is provided in the quality of life reports. I will share it directly, and then as well the academics who developed and conducted this survey. They have an article that's been published that compares all the 9 regions in southwestern Ontario. I can share that as well.
Okay, I appreciate that. I'm missed the link, but I would appreciate very much having that information.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Colleagues, other questions? Okay, Councillor Rothwell, any questions out there in internet land?
Thank you, Mayor Todd. No questions, and thank you through you to Kristen and the social planning research team for the report. I just noticed one thing that when I did read in the report, it talks about Stratford and St. Mary's being significant in size and so on, but I just want to certainly bring to Kristen's attention, which I know she knows as well as the others, but North Perth overall has a greater population than St. Mary's, as well as our service urban area of Listowel is actually larger than St. Mary's. So I think it's important to note that in the comment, is that although Stratford and St. Mary's are politically separate from the county, they are not the largest community, being St. Mary's is not the second largest community anymore. So I just want to make note of that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Rothwell. Last opportunity for questions or comments. All right. Thank you, Ms. Crane. We appreciate you giving us some time at this hour of the day, and your attendance at our meeting is welcome. I think you've left us with access to those reports, and certainly they are meaty. I have read them, and they certainly bring meaning to some of the things that we as councillors see and hear from our constituents. So much appreciated. All right, let's turn next to item 8.4. For this item, we are joined by Ms. Alyssa Kipfer, who is the coordinator of the Listowel Business Improvement Area, or BIA. Ms. Kipfer is here to present an overview of Listowel BIA activities and to present the budget for the BIA for 2024 for this council's consideration. Ms. Kipfer, the floor is yours.
All right, good evening. So yes, my name is Alyssa Kipfer, and I am the Listowel Business Improvement Area, or BIA coordinator. I have had the privilege of serving in the role as coordinator for just over 1 year. I will be presenting on behalf of the BIA board our insights from the past year and discussing our 2024 budget. Listowel BIA is a local board of council whose mission is to promote and beautify Listowel to foster a vibrant business area that attracts people to shop, dine, and discover. We work to deliver beautification and promotion initiatives in addition to what the municipality provides. This purpose is reflected in a variety of ways, guiding everything we do with the overall goal of being to benefit the collective good of Listowel. BIAs are funded through a special levy that have been applied to commercially assessed properties within a specific boundary. As you can see, the boundary covers most of Listowel. There are approximately 287 businesses within our boundary, varying in both size and scope. At present, our 4 most dominant industries are our retail sector, followed by professional services, automotive, and food. In 2023, we ran a number of promotions, events, and beautification efforts. We continued to coordinate with the Digital Service Squad for businesses to receive consultation and coaching on their digital presence, to insert currency into the community and raise awareness of the local Shop Dollar program. We ran a Mother's Day and Father's Day Shop Local promotion. In the summertime, we organized a photo scavenger hunt around the town and partnered with the North Perth Public Library to bring story walks to the downtown. We ended off the summer with summer sale days that saw 25 businesses offer sales at the same time. Part of this campaign was to allow the public who made purchases at any of the participating businesses the chance to win one of 4 prizes that were made up of donations from local businesses. In the fall, for Small Business Week, we had 6 businesses sign up to create videos that we featured on our social media to help briefly share their business insights and their personalities behind the businesses. We also tried for the first time, trick-or-treating activity between the Listowel businesses and handed out Shop Local dollars for a costume contest. As the winter approached, Deck the Halls, our holiday business open house, saw us partner with the Connect Club of Listowel, who led a community carol sing, and the North Perth Public Library, who offered a drop-in ornament making class. To draw people into the downtown, the BIA offered for the first time horse-drawn carriage rides with Carson Farms. Deck the Halls wrapped as we coordinated with the Salvation Army Band to offer live music in the downtown before the parade. In mid-December, we completed a month-long loyalty card program, another first for us, that encouraged people to make 6 purchases for a chance to win one of 4 250 Shop Local dollars. We had a total of 1,000 Shop Local dollar prizes that we handed out for this promotion. Lastly, we engaged both the community and our businesses with the Residents and Business Holiday Decorating Contest. 2023 was another successful year for our seasonal beautification efforts, a combined effort between both the municipality and the BIA. The summer included our cement flower planters, clamshells, and hanging baskets on the street of Listowel. The winter is equally as noticeable with the holiday decorations and lights at a variety of places around Listowel that would not be possible without the help of our volunteers. In the fall, we also supported the Listowel Legion as we worked with the municipality to expand the locations for the Veteran Banner Program. In 2023, our organization made strides in hiring a consultant to help our team complete a 3-year strategic plan. Across our 4 main pillars, governance, beautification, marketing, and events, we identified areas that the BIA can focus its work to make Listowel a vibrant, attractive, and thriving community in the upcoming years. This plan is expected to be ratified at our first meeting in 2024. As we wrap up our review of last year's activities, I'd like to shift our attention to the upcoming year with a presentation of our budget. In 2024, we aim to implement a 5% increase to the BIA tax rate. This adjustment would translate to a $6,200 increase in our budget for 2024, which would help support our marketing, beautifying, and future projects. I'd like to highlight that for 2024, the board is considering projects such as bike racks, public realm seating, and a branding refresh. Our 2024 budget contains adjustments from 2023 due to the completed projects like our strategic plan and an increase in our event spending. For 2024, our work will continue ensuring that our organization is efficiently and effectively managed, working to update and add to the policies and procedures that we operate by. For beautification, we will continue to beautify the town with the current standards of flowers and maintenance as required for the clamshells, cement planters, and hanging baskets, as well as brainstorming new ways to identify ways to improve and beautify the town. Our marketing efforts will continue to present a consistent message, promote our community, and encourage shopping locally. Our plan is to continue to refine and improve events to promote the Listowel community. As always, the work of the BIA is complemented by the staff of the town and their willingness to assist and to support our efforts. The BIA board believes that this is a win-win situation where both parties see the benefit of working together, and we hope this relationship continues. As such, we would like to thank the staff of North Perth for their role in our success. We would also like to publicly thank our council representative, Deputy Mayor Kellum, for his attendance at our meetings, providing both valuable input and a summary on current municipal initiatives and updates. In summary, we'd like to request council's support for the budget of $130,200 for 2024. Thank you for your attention and support. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to address them.
All right, thank you, Ms. Kipfer. Colleagues, questions, first comments on this? Anything? Councillor Andreessen, let me get your microphone.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Kaysenberg. Thank you for your presentation this evening. I currently chair economic development here at the municipality, and we are engaging in an agricultural excellence strategy because of the amount of agricultural business that is happening within North Perth and how much that it drives our local economy. I don't know if you saw the last report, but the last report from United Way talked about how the economy is mostly driven by agriculture. which I know that local businesses will differ from, are not agricultural businesses per se. I'm wondering about whether your strategic plan has any kind of connection to the agricultural economy and what it's doing, what BIA is doing in order to make those kinds of connections. Thanks.
So in response to that, our strategic plan largely focused on the businesses that are located within our boundary. And most of them have, again, that retail sector, the professional services. So our strategic plan more so focused on strategies that would be relevant to them as well. We are I'm much aware of the fact of what agricultural plays within our community, and keep that in consideration when we are thinking about who Listowel is, what would attract people to Listowel and appeal to our Listowel community.
If I may, perhaps as we move forward with economic development here in our municipality and with this new work that we're doing with agricultural excellence, it might be a good thing to connect with you about some of the ideas that we have too as a municipality that could have a great impact on the businesses in town too. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be open to that.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Anyone else with questions or comments at this point? I have to admit, this term I'm not the council rep on BIA, but very excited about the fact that the strategic plan has come forth, and look forward to learning a little bit more about that as a councillor. I know that organizations that plan tend to do better, and so the opportunity that the plan gives strikes me as very powerful and important. Next steps for the organization. So congratulations on the work that's unfolded. To Deputy Mayor Callum for being a part of that. Thank you very much. All right. I'm not seeing any questions, so I guess generally at this point we've taken note of this. This will get rolled up, I think, into the municipal budget, if I'm not mistaken, Councillor Anstead. Yep. So we will see your number again, I'm sure, but thank you for the background on it. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
All right, that allows us to turn to agenda item number 9, reports from departments and key staff. We have a single item tonight from the Facilities Department. As item 9.1.1 on our agenda, Manager of Facilities Jeff Newell has brought forward a report that addresses the status of the municipally owned building in Moncton that was formerly the site of the Moncton branch of the North Perth Public Library. Mr. Newell, some brief comments on this one, please.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Mayor Kasenberg and members of council. The former Moncton Library is located in the village of Moncton at 218 Winstanley Street. The new library located at the site of the Elma Logan Recreation Complex has replaced the need of the original library. We have talked about this a couple of times at council, and staff have investigated the potential sale of the property as directed by council in a report dated back on May 16th, 2022. Staff have determined the current zoning of this property has Hamlet Village commercial designation. There is a well located on this property which is shared with an abutting property under a registered agreement. Staff are recommending that the zoning remain as Hamlet Village commercial as opposed to residential, because it may mislead people to think that it is easily transferable into residential property where septic system would be a concern for them. There is the financial implications. There is revenue anticipated for the sale of the property. Given the current real estate environment, the actual sale price is likely to be variable. We have a written estimated value of $135,000. The recommendation is before you that the municipality of North Perth deems the original Moncton Library building and property as surplus and lists with a realtor with a Hamlet Village commercial zoning designation. I'd be happy to answer any questions people may have.
All right, thank you, Mr. Newell. Colleagues, questions or first comments on this matter? Okay, Not seeing any, so I have a resolution for our consideration as follows. The Council of the Municipality of North Perth deems the original Moncton Library building and property as surplus and lists with the realtor with the Hamlet Village commercial zoning designation. Can I call for mover? Councillor Johnston, seconded by Councillor Nordum. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's have that vote. Can we get the e-scribe view up here? Okay, so we may declare him absent at this point, and with 9 votes cast, then that is carried. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mr. Newell. Next up then is item 9.2.1, and this council is asked, following a rigorous procurement process protocol, to award the contract for the implementation of recreation and childcare software to Univeris. I call on North Perth Manager of Programs, Amy Gangle, to explain this request. Ms. Gangle, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. As part of the 2023 operating budget process, staff recommended seeking efficiencies through the procurement of a new recreation and childcare software programs. Opportunities were also sought to help with the recreation facility booking process. In November 2023, the municipality issued an RFP and received proposals from 4 bidders. Evaluations were conducted by municipal staff in the programs, facilities, library, finance, and IT departments. During stage 1 of the evaluation process, bidders' proposals were evaluated based on functionality, the ability to meet the requirements set out in the RFP, experience, capability, as well as price. This resulted in 2 bidders being invited to stage 2 of the evaluation process, where bidders were asked to demonstrate their solutions from an administrator's as well as a user's point of view. After the conclusion of stage 2, the proposal from Univeris was unanimously scored highest among the evaluators. The draft 2024 operating budget includes a provision of $30,000 to support the implementation and first-year licensing for the software. Future year operational budgets will be adjusted according to reflect the annual service costs subsequent to implementation. The efficiencies discovered with the implementation of this software will allow departments to focus more on programs and services rather than administrative tasks. As this software will primarily be used by customers, it is anticipated that credit cards will likely become the primary form of payment for programs and facility rentals. The annual licensing fees for this software is not included in the costs associated with the credit card use. So during the implementation process, staff will assess options to best address these additional costs, and we will advise council accordingly. The go-live date for the software implementation is planned for the end of summer or beginning of fall 2024. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Gangle. Kind of unfortunate that it falls into the fall or late summer in some ways. I could imagine it would take some of the burden off summer programming if it were implemented before, but...
We would have liked to have done, my apologies, I would like to have done it sooner, but the volume of the summer registration for us and starting off a brand new software system might be a little too overload for our staff capacity, keeping that in mind.
Yeah, give yourself time, for sure. All right, colleagues, questions or first comments? I'm not seeing any, so I have a resolution as follows, that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth awards request for proposal number NP-054-23P, Recreation and Childcare Program Software to Univeris, totaling $73,434, excluding HST, for the initial 5-year term. Can I call for a mover? Councillor Richardson, thanks. Seconded by Councillor Blazek. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's have that vote. Councillor Andreessen is recording a manual vote. And with that, that is carried. Thank you, Ms. Gangle. All right, we turn to reports from the Strategic Initiatives Department. We have one this evening. In item 9.3.1, Council is presented with updates to the Corporate Strategic Plan, representing changes warranted in the aftermath of Council decisions in December to add to the plan content about healthcare being a community priority. Ms. Jessica McLean, watch my tongue, Manager of Strategic Initiatives, will briefly outline the scope of these revisions. Ms. McLean.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As mentioned by the Mayor at the December 4th Council meeting, Council passed a motion requesting that our recently approved strategic plan be updated to include healthcare as a priority, and also that staff prepare a report outlining current and potential efforts of the municipality related to healthcare. This evening, we have prepared a proposed update to the strategic plan for Council's consideration and approval. In addition to some small edits throughout the document, we've also added an additional priority to the community planning and development goal. Priority 4.8 reads that North Perth plays an active role in healthcare recruitment and improving local healthcare access. To further this priority, there are a number of actions recommended to implement, and those are listed in the report. Staff have also compiled a list of actions for Council's information that North Perth has been working on over the last several years, which relate to some of the actions proposed in the delegation presentation. Some items include the enhancement of diversity, equity, and inclusion in the community, municipal service, and decision-making. This includes Council's adoption of the Diversity, Equity, and Anti-Racism Charter and the establishment of the North Perth Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Advisory Committee. The strategic plan also prioritizes North Perth as a diverse, inclusive community. The municipality's annual donation towards physician recruitment, which was increased by $10,000 in 2023 for a total annual amount of $20,000. As well, the proposed establishment of a healthcare recruitment reserve in the 2024 budget, following a request from Council at the 2024 budget visioning session. If approved by Council, $25,000 will be allocated annually to the reserve and will give the municipality, recruitment committee, hospital, and the family health team flexibility in how best to strategically invest funds in any given year. Set 7 has also developed a home daycare training program in an effort to address childcare needs in the community. The hospital CEO has been very supportive of this program as a way to create more flexible childcare spaces, which are required by healthcare professionals. Lastly, North Perth was successful in securing a delegation with the Minister of Health at the upcoming Roma conference, and the delegation topics were developed in consultation with the family health team and seek provincial support and investment for several innovative healthcare initiatives. In terms of the actions for future investigation featured in the delegation presentation, consultations with local healthcare providers on opportunities for a walk-in clinic are occurring. Staff recommend further investigation into the opportunity to declare the Fisher Family Primary Care Centre as a municipal capital facility, with a report to be brought back to Council with more information at a later date. And staff are also interested in initiating discussions with the Coalition Hospital and the Family Health team to gain a better understanding on the requirements and roles in supporting recruitment of internationally trained physicians and healthcare professionals. And I can answer any questions that Council may have in regards to this report.
All right, thank you, Ms. McLean. Colleagues, questions or first comments on this? Councillor Richardson.
Thank you, and through you, Mayor, thank you so much for the report. It's good to see that some action. This is a little swifter than when this was just discussed a while ago. So this is really good that this has come about at this point in time. I'm certainly in favor of the recommendations that are put forward. I think for having the primary Fisher Care Clinic being deemed as capital, I think that's a good opportunity as well. But I'm looking forward to it, and kudos to that we're at least we're on the direction of trying to do a little something for that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Richardson. Anyone else with questions or first comments? Councillor Andreessen.
Yes, thank you. Through you, Mayor Kaysenberg. Given that we did have a delegation recently from that community group, will we be sharing this report directly with them so that they're aware of, what we're doing?
Yeah, thank you for your question. I have been communicating with the person who did the delegation and did share this report, and I will give them an update on council's discussions tonight.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else with a question or first comments on this? All right. I have a resolution then that allows us to tidy up the strategic plan and consider a few other things here as follows: that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth receives and adopts the 2023 to 2026 North Perth Strategic Plan as updated to include the strategic priority of healthcare, and that Council directs staff to investigate the opportunity to declare the Fisher Family Primary Care Centre as a municipal capital facility, with a report to be brought back to Council with more information, and that Council receives the report North Perth Healthcare Action Coalition Delegation Next Steps, dated January 8th, 2024, as information. Moved by Councillor Richardson, seconded by Councillor Blazek. Thank you. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Next, for 9.4, we have reports from CAO's department. CAO Snell is not feeling well tonight. He's asked Ms. McLean to take his spot in presenting this report. In this item, the municipality has received a letter from an agent of the owner and developer of the mixed commercial residential development project known as Listowel Gardens. The agent has requested a series of relief measures from the municipality in support of furtherance of the project. And at this point, we're going to ask Ms. McLean to sort of review this. I know that she was involved in strategizing and responding to this request. Ms. McLean, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Attached to this council report is a letter that was received by the CAO from CBRE Limited regarding the Listowel Gardens development. This letter provides a progress update on the project and requests relief from council for development charges, parkland dedication fees, and property taxes in reference to the community improvement plan that is currently being developed by the municipality. The letter from CBRE was shared with the CIP consulting team from Stantec Consulting for comment and assistance in recommending council's next steps in response. The comments received by the consulting team are reflected in the council report. Because the Community Improvement Plan project is still ongoing, at this time, it is recommended that the municipality is not able to guarantee that the developer will receive these incentives or the value of any incentive programs awarded. Doing so would be against Community Improvement Plan and municipal bonusing legislation. It is recommended that the developer participate in the upcoming consultation events planned for the CIP project to share their needs, opinions, and to provide feedback on the draft programs. A public survey, stakeholder engagement workshop, council and staff interviews, and a public open house are scheduled for mid to late January and into February. A statutory public meeting will then occur once the draft CIP is developed, and presentation of the final CIP to council for consideration and adoption is anticipated for February and into March. At this time, I can answer any additional questions that council may have.
Great. Thank you, Ms. McLean. Colleagues, questions or comments on this? Don't want to put the cart before the horse, I think is the message here, generally speaking. All right, I'm not seeing any questions or first comments, so let's look at the resolution that's been proposed as follows: that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth directs staff to prepare a letter of response to CBRE on behalf of North Perth Council that states the following: the development of the housing CIP is currently underway and is expected to be complete in March 2024. As per community improvement legislation, the municipality of North Perth cannot guarantee the creation, access, and/or value of CIP incentive programs until the CIP is finalized, adopted, and implemented by North Perth Council. At this time, the Council of the Municipality of North Perth cannot confirm the waiving of development charges, parkland dedication fees, or access to a tax increment program for the Listowel Gardens development, and the developer is encouraged to participate in CIP project consultation events to share their needs, opinions, and to provide feedback on the draft program. Can I call for a mover? Moved by Councillor Andreessen, seconded by Councillor Duncan. Discussion or debate? Normally I'd be giddy up, but I think that we need to make sure the cart doesn't get ahead of the horse here, so I'm in favor of this myself. Any other comments? All right, let's have the vote. And that is carried. Thank you, Ms. McLean, even for pinch hitting tonight. Much appreciated. That brings us to item 10 on our agenda. For item 10, councillors, are there any reports that you would like to ask of staff or of our committees? I am not seeing any hands waving. Let's move to item 11. We have received no items of correspondence beyond that already shared in the consent agenda for any action. At this point, we turn to consideration of bylaws that have been recommended to us for action. We do have sort of omnibus things happening here, but in 2 parts or 3 parts tonight. It's a little bit different, in part because with drains, we always consider first and second reading with provisional adoption. So the resolutions are just a shade longer, but this is certainly the opportunity, colleagues, for any of you, if you wish to discuss any of these bylaws that are on the table before we consider the resolutions that enable them. Councillor Andreessen, you have, so we just need to sort of, yeah, we're doing the drains together, and then the other 2 items separately, I think is right. Yep, Clerk Carter.
So if Councillor Andreessen wishes to vote on the other 2, we can vote them in 2 separate motions.
Does that make sense? Okay, so yeah, we have the drains together. We're going to consider the drains first, so this is your opportunity. All right, drains. First, we have a resolution as follows, that bylaws 2-2024 and 3-2024 being bylaws to provide for drainage works in the municipality of North Perth, the Brant and Horton municipal drains, and the Isachenko municipal drain be read a first and second time and be provisionally adopted. I think we're taking it just to that point, right? All right. So I need a mover and a seconder for this. Councillor Johnston will move it. Councillor Duncan will be our seconder. Thank you. Any discussion or debate on those? You're okay? All right. Let's have the vote.
I'm in favor of my vote.
Okay. Councillor Anstedt records a manual vote in favor, and with 8 votes, that accounts for this. That motion is therefore carried. All right. Next, then, we have resolutions for other bylaws, right? We should bring Councillor Andreessen back for this. So the next resolution is that the following bylaws are hereby passed. 1-2024 being a bylaw to provide for an interim tax levy, authorization for tax billing and payment processes and penalty and interest charge on overdue tax installments and tax arrears, and bylaw number 5-2024 being a bylaw to authorize the signing of an agreement with Mornington Communications Cooperative Limited. Can I call for mover on this one? Councillor Anstedt, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Blazek. Any discussion or debate here? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. As item 13.1, do any councillors wish leave to give notice of motion this evening? Okay, not seeing it. So we're now at item 14 on our agenda. For item 14, are there any announcements that would be of benefit to our community or that reflect well on North Perth at this time? And if we have anyone connected remotely, I don't know if we still do, they too can share in the experience. Anyone with announcements? Okay, thank you. That moves us to item 15. We have no matters to consider in a closed session meeting of council. Item 16 we can move past because we have nothing to report about, given that we did not hold a closed session. Councillor Andreessen, we need you to exit again, I believe. Council, as a mandated good practice, acts near the end of its meeting agenda to confirm all of its actions and business through what is called a confirmatory bylaw. For item 17.1, I have the draft of a confirmatory bylaw number 4-2024, and the enablement resolution is as follows: that bylaw 4-2024, being a bylaw to confirm generally previous actions of the council of the municipality of North Perth, is hereby passed. Moved by Deputy Mayor Kellum, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Blazek, thank you. Any discussion or debate on this? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried, and we should bring Councillor Andreessen back into the room at this point. So, colleagues, we have completed the deliberation and taken action on the business that was put before us tonight. It is thus appropriate for us to consider adjournment. I have a resolution to that effect. The council meeting adjourns at 8:31 p.m. to meet again for general council business on Monday, January 15th, 2024 at 7 p.m. That's next week. The reason it's next week is because Roma is the week after. So it's next week. Can I call for mover? Councillor Richardson, thank you, and Councillor Andreessen. Not debatable. Let's have that vote. And that is carried. So, colleagues, just that reminder again, we are meeting again next week, and then we're off. Those who are going to Roma, will be